We're going to talk today a little bit about young people in the arts and general creativity of young people. We have some young people amongst us who I've asked to come along today. So it's Hayley. Yeah. We haven't actually kind of all met each other actually. We've spoken on the phone and emailed, and I'm just looking around at the youngest people in the room. Matthew, is identified as a young person. Noah, hello Noah, who's agreed to come on today, and is it Hayley? Lisa, hello Lisa. Okay, so these are official young people. You might actually be a young person yourself, or even consider yourself to be a young person. That's also fine, but yeah, that's something perhaps we might get around to, is the definition of a young person, because you don't look very young to me. But anyway, that's something. So we're just like, we've invited these people on stage for you to give your views on the things that we're going to talk about. And I really just want this to be a kind of discussion, really, rather than me telling you what I think, or I mean, we're interested to hear your thoughts, but I think it should just be more of a debate going on. So the thing which got me going, provoked me a little bit. We produce theatre, and we've always produced theatre trying to involve young people. When I say young people, I'm talking sort of well, actually the youngest person in the last production was 8, but going right up until sort of 19, 20-year-olds. And we recently had an artistic assessment of our work sent from the Arts Council. I don't know if you know, they send around sort of independent people, but they're officially sort of sent by the Arts Council to give an assessment of the work. Now, obviously, we haven't all seen the work, so when I read this quote, there will be aspects of it you can say, well, maybe the work was just a bit crap. You know, that might be the case, okay, but we haven't all seen the work. So I wanted to take this quote in relation to what it says about young people, about the level of professionality within work, and whether young people can or should or do take on that sort of level in a professional piece. So what we produce is a piece of work which has everything professional about it. So it has professional actors, designers, musicians, musical directors. The whole thing about it is professional, and people are paid to do it. But we also have within the production is young people involved in the production, 12 young people involved in the production. But everything else about it is as you would see a normal standard performance. Okay, so I'll just read out the quote. Before we discuss it, just like to think for yourself about what you think about it. So one of the quotes was, "A youth theatre show with a couple of added professionals, which for the ticket price was rather expensive. And whilst encouragement and the participation of young people is to be applauded, a decision needs to be made about the production's focus." Okay, so taking aside that the production may have been good or it may have been bad, but I'll just read that one more time. "A youth theatre show with a couple of added professionals, which for the ticket price was rather expensive. And whilst encouragement and the participation of young people is to be applauded, a decision needs to be made about the production's focus." And this was something that came up again, that we were asked to decide whether we wanted to sort of do a professional production or whether we wanted to have young people involved in the show. So to start with, I think just like everyone to sort of have their own thoughts on that. And if I could ask you just to write, it might be a word, it might be a sentence, it might be just a couple of lines about what you think about that statement. And if you could write it anonymously, so don't put your name on it. If you do it on this, if I give these out. And I just want us to sort of anonymously write it, so you don't need to put your name on it at all. And we'll just fold it up. And there's pens here. Pass some of those round. It could be one word, it could be a sentence, a phrase, it can be any pens, anyone?
Thank you very much.
But just don't put your name on it, and just fold it up, and when you've done that, just put it in the bowl there. So you can say, you know, whatever you like, because we're not going to know that you've written it. You can say, you know, or you might not even have a response to it. You might say, this doesn't make me think of anything, which is fine. Okay, has everyone put it in the bowl if they want to? Okay, I'm just going to ask you now to take one out. If you do take your own, don't worry, it doesn't matter. Don't go, oh my goodness, I've got my own. Just take one out. Did you put one in? You didn't? Okay. And this is a way just of gauging sort of opinions in the room, but an anonymous way, so you can be completely open, just to give us an idea of the thoughts in the room. So, who would like to start? You would like to start? Yes, just read it out.
A production by young people should be cheaper. What about productions at West Yorkshire Playhouse? Annie, for example, where tickets are £30 each.
Right, so a production with young people should be cheaper. Okay, great, thank you. Do you want to put that back in there?
Can I clarify? That was a question.
A production by younger people should be cheaper, question mark.
That was mine.
She's spoiling the anonymous thing straight away.
Should it say, should it be cheaper?
I'll put my head up. It was a question.
Should it be cheaper?
Yeah,
Should it be cheaper?
No, it's just because a production has young people in it, it should be cheaper. Question mark.
Oh, right.
Question mark.
Right.
Because the production of Annie with loads of young people.
Ah,
in it,
so you've
Playhouse was about 30 quid a pop.
Right. Okay.
So what's the difference between
Right.
what we've done and what they've done?
Right. Okay. We'll perhaps come back to
Sorry.
that as a point of discussion.
I
Right.
just wanna-
Let's
sorry.
let's keep these. Actually, I might just put them in the middle so we can.
There always a lot of productions use lots of children, because I know from my own son, and they don't get paid, but they still charge loads at the box office.
Okay, so these are interesting points we could come back to. Let's just gather the points from everyone, and then we'll come back to things that are of interest to us. So, would you like to continue on?
It says balance between professional and youth theatre, a compromise.
A compromise. Okay, great, thank you. A compromise. We just put them in the middle, and we've done them.
Mine says unfair.
Unfair. Okay, just one word. Unfair. Thank you.
Mine says should a production be viewed as unprofessional just because of the use of young actors? Surely it should be judged on the work produced.
Right. So should be judged on the work produced rather than at the
Just
age.
because there's young actors involved.
Okay. Thank you very much.
My person thinks that the audience member may have been expecting a professional show, but views the actors as amateur.
Yes. Good point. I think that was the case. They viewed the actors as amateur. Yeah. Okay.
Mine just says unfair.
Unfair.
If youngsters are in it, it should be cheaper to encourage more young people to attend.
Okay.
So, whilst implying that involving young people is charitable, and in brackets should be applauded, he's not willing to pay. Can you have it both ways?
Right. Okay. That's an interesting one.
Mine is a question. It says, what do they consider to be professional?
A performance for the family public has to be a professional and valued for money.
Okay.
This one says I don't know, so no opinion really.
Okay, so that's some more thoughts for us to have a think about. I just wanted to ask before to kick us off is from an official young person's perspective. The wonderful thing about young people is that we've all been there. Yeah, we've all been young at some point, so we've all probably been in situations when we were young, and particularly being in sort of a creative summit like this. But it'd be just interesting to hear from your points of view what you think of that, or if you have any experiences yourself that you perhaps are relevant to what we're discussing.